Argatha.
According to Wikipedia, Agartha is a legendary kingdom that is said to be located on the inner surface of the earth.
Did y'all hear that? What map is this? I'm not seeing North America. I'm not seeing nothing. This is a very precise map. Where is this? They showed it kinda. Like, remember I'm saying this is Garden of Eden. We keep going. They're like, that is right above us. That's what I'm getting. This is North America. That Garden of Eden is right here. So what is this then? And what is that? And all this out here, the outer lands, what is all that?
It's so tall that even it peaks reaching out the clouds. It's the Roots Nigra, or the Black Rock. People also called it Mount Zion.
So the North Pole is a black hole. Damn! How could I not see this?
And then it says further instructions in package number 3 only when arrived in Agartha to be opened. Oh friends, but it's so much more. Hold on. I was trying to figure out how do we get there? And allegedly it's through cave systems. And one of those cave systems is the southernmost volcano that is active in Antarctica called Mount Erebus. Now get to Agartha by going into this void in the inner earth in the north.
Could you give us her name?
Yes, it's Billy Woodard.
Did they finally find Amelia Earhart?
Okay, and this right here is just slightly to the left of focus.
Y'all, they're jellyfish UFOs birth graves.
You better lock in and buckle up, bucko, because you're in for another creepy and scary TikTok reaction video. You want to be careful on these creepy and disturbing waters because these weird, strange, scary, disturbing theories might change your reality and keep you up all night. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, this entire video is for entertainment purposes only. It is up to us to separate fact from fiction and do our own research on everything. This entire video is not factual. Hyper mode, activate! Quantum mode, activate! Welcome to Dark Waters 9.
This is the key, and you are going to find the key somewhere here in the Antarctica. Put on Street View and then focus on those 2 points and go inside. Zoom in until you're going to see the lines, and then just hop in. Turn around and climb up the stairs to this laboratory. Open the door but don't slam it, and then go straight down the way. Go so far that you can see all of those papers hanging at the wall to the right. Zoom at this board and yeah, check out the dark matter stuff, but that's not the key. The key is at the left side. Of course you can read all of this stuff, but the key is hanging on the top left side. There it is. So now I'm going to take a screenshot to make it more understandable for you. So now I'm in CapCut and this is an illustration by myself, and I'm going to put an overlay with this one here. This is the creation hole. This is the Terra. Okay, everything that comes outside of the black hole in the center, the north. So this here is everything 3D, stars, planets, wandering stars, everything inside here. This is pushed together to a 2-dimensional plate at the northern hemisphere. Okay, this is flipped upside down and mirrored to everywhere else to the southern hemisphere. And so we got the rotation here, anti-rotation. But this is the key. Okay? This here inside, it's a black hole. It's a north pole, north center. Everything spirals out like a snake. Sun sits at the horizon.
Damn, it makes sense. So the North Pole is a black hole. Damn. How could I not see this? The North Pole is a black hole. Check this out.
Do you know what this place is? It's located in the center of the North Pole. And it's the center of the Earth magnetic field, known as the Taurus field. That black thing in the center of the whirlwind is the tallest mountain on Earth, far more taller than the Mount Everest. It's so tall that even it peaks reaching out the clouds. It's the Rupes Nigra, or the Black Rock, also known as Mount Meru. Some people also called it Mount Zion. You wouldn't find this massive mountain existence in mainstream science and media because it's deliberately concealed. Because if the world knew that there is such a huge mountain in the center of the Earth, it would change the course of history. This includes the true nature of our world will be rewritten, and that will undo the globe-shaped Earth theory and the entire timeline of the Earth from the beginning, and they don't want that. Look how the wind stream passes through that mountain. It blocks the wind stream because of its height and size. The Rupes Nigra, or the Black Rock, describes by Mercator as 33 French miles in size, or roughly 40 miles in diameter. It's purportedly explain why all compasses point to this location. The biggest shareholder of all the major companies in the world is Black Rock. It's named after this mountain.
And just to dive even deeper on that subject, check this out. Just to dive even deeper on that subject, let's see what this black hole actually does. It literally creates all the eclipses. Every single eclipse, that's what this black hole does.
Of the video, he shows a CD or a disc. He immediately draws the geometric shape of an oblate spheroid. We can see how he separates the oblate spheroid with a disc that has a hole in the center. Then, below, he draws a circle and immediately paints it completely black. From this black circle, rays come out and 3 rays pass through the hole in the center. Below he writes, still. What of the possible meanings of this black circle may be the black sun? He draws reliefs on the edge of the hole and writes North Pole. And above this hole, inside what would be the celestial vault, he draws a star, the polar star or Polaris. He marks 2 points and connects them in a circle and writes equator. He draws 2 lines that go down from the polar star to the 2 points. The lines form a triangle. He highlights 2 of the rays coming out of the black sun and also forms a triangle, but vice versa.
Now, if you look at that carefully, that puts a whole new meaning on 33-degree Mason. Because look, this is literally 33 degrees. So this is knowledge they ain't showing everybody.
And he writes, as above so below. It's one of the 7 principles of Hermes Trismegistus. It appears on the Emerald Tablet and then in the Kabbalion. He erases the intersections and draws the sun and moon. And he makes a gesture of rotation. He draws 2 arrows to show the distance of the moon and the sun. Both are 3,300 miles or 5,310 kilometers away.
What a coincidence that 33 degrees, 3,300 miles, I believe.
Then he measures the diameter of the sun and moon, being the same with a diameter of 32 miles or 51 kilometers. He draws continents on the surface and on the other side as well. He points both sides and writes, saying, below he writes Summerland. He draws rays coming out of the black sun and writes Northern Lights. The center of the drawing is equal to the Mason symbol, which is a square and a compass. He points out the ray coming out of the black sun toward the moon, and then he erases the face of the moon. He makes signs explaining that the sun doesn't light up the moon. Who does it is the black sun.
That almost has to be true. Because where is the sun when the moon's getting lit up? What's literally giving it that light? It's a reflection. Man, this is interesting.
There is a giant magnetic mountain at our North Pole. It's called the Black Rock. And it was the Phantom Island. In many old maps we see it depicted. And in the middle of this big whirlpool where all the seas kind of go and drain, there's this big black magnetic mountain, sometimes referred to as the Rupes Nigra. And it's not just one map. Many cultures have depicted this area as a sacred place.
What map is this? I'm not seeing North America. I'm not seeing nothing. What type of map is this?
Area as a sacred place, place of power. A few books were written about this. Of course, they were destroyed in the 1600s. And when people look at this area and the heat maps and signatures and they see the wind blowing right past this huge thing, 33 miles wide, in the middle of the north, maybe we've been lied to. Did you know there is a giant magnetic mountain at our North Pole?
And is that Mount Zion? Drop in the comments below your thoughts. I thought Mount Zion was like some type of metaphor to the Earth's magnetic pole leading up to the heavens, the Taurus field leading up to the heavens. I didn't know it was a literal mountain.
Called the Black Rock.
And where have we heard Black Rock before? This isn't our first time hearing Black Rock. What language is this? Guys, drop in the comments below.
And it was the Phantom Island. In many old maps, we see it depicted, and in the middle of this big whirlpool.
Is this the Garden of Eden where this damn play button is? What are these? This is a very precise map. Where is this? It's almost like they had access to this land in the ancient times. Where is it? Is this really where the North Pole is?
Pool where all the seas kind of go and drain. There's this big black magnetic mountain, sometimes referred to as the Rupes Nigra.
Maybe we're looking at this wrong, man. Maybe you gotta go underwater to access this land? Could this be Middle Earth?
And in the middle of this big whirlpool where all the seas kind of go and drain, there's this big black magnetic mountain.
And look, where have we seen this before? This is either one of those ancient flying building machines, or this is an ancient quantum computer. Maybe they had to use some type of Stargate. Maybe they had Stargates back in the day that teleported to all these different ancient lands. That was their form of teleportation or communication, but this just isn't adding up.
Sometimes referred to as the Rupes Nigra. And it's not just one map.
Hold on, we gotta dissect this. Go back. Look, this might confirm it being underground, Middle Earth. Because look, if this was the Mount Zion protruding, then what is all this extra stuff going on, man? Inner body, outer body, I see that going on. But is this the waters? Is this the mountain, Mount Zion, and is this what's under it that's causing the magnetic field?
And it's not just one map. Many cultures have depicted this area as a sacred place of power. A few books were written about this. Of course, they were destroyed in the 1600s. And when people look at this area and the heat maps and signatures, and they see the wind blowing right past this huge thing, 33 miles wide, in the middle of the north, maybe we've been lied to. Did you know there is a giant magnetic mountain?
This is footage seen from a Russian military plane. This is what the North Pole looks like. A huge vortex. Now, everyone knows that the North Pole is a magnetic pole. So how does this apply to flat Earth? If the North Pole is the center of the map, the center of the magnetic pole, where the aurora borealis is known to be seen. In fact, the colors of the aurora borealis are formed due to the electron field that changes the color of the hosts in the atmosphere. That's how strong the Earth's North Pole is. As in this small example. So, doesn't that vortex seen from planes look like a portal to you? The same shape as the aurora borealis. And the sun and moon fulfill the role of the magnetic ball in the prototype. Everything makes sense. As you can see, it's like a huge round magnet with a hole in the middle. The South Pole, that is, Antarctica, or rather the ice wall, is the edge of the round magnet. This means that Antarctica is not a minus or a plus pole. Antarctica is magnetized with both poles, minus and plus. Also, the center of the map, that is the North Pole, is not polarized as being minus or a plus pole. On the contrary, it is an accumulation of positive and negative electrons. An electron pressure, which creates a vortex, a portal, and is also seen in the form of the aurora borealis influencing. that magnetic field the ozone layer. So, Antarctica is magnetized with both poles, minus and plus. Also the center of the map, that is. The North Pole is not polarized, as being minus or plus pole. This is footage seen from a Russian military plane.
Where is Mount Zion? I'm looking at this right here and I'm like, where's Mount Zion? I'm not saying this isn't real, but it just, you know, is there levels to this? Did somebody go inside that? What happens if you go inside? Do you get that other map that we're trying to figure out? You know, that is surrounded by the Garden of Eden? If you go inside that, is that how you get into Garden of Eden? Is basically what I'm trying to say. Drop in the comments below your theses or hypotheses for entertainment purposes, of course.
It's not actually the North Pole. The North Pole's been sailed every year for 30 years. It's off from the North Pole several hundred miles. This is in a region that's never been sailed before. It's between the magnetic North Pole and the actual North Pole. The waters are reported to be the roughest on the planet. So we're talking 10-story seas. This is not going to be a pleasure cruise by any stretch of the imagination. We'll be breaking ice for 8 days to get there. So it's not an easy place to get to.
Sleep with your head north. You can add more time. If you breathe,
How do you sleep with your head north?
you find out what north is in the room.
What if my bed is this way? Which way is north?
Then you change. You
This
find
way?
out. I don't know. But I'm saying here's what you do. I take a compass on the road with me, and when I go to a hotel, I find out north. You take a baby and put a baby in a crib. The baby will seek out north. We keep straightening the baby up. The baby don't turn all the way around the crib. It finds north. Once you lay down like this, every nerve cell in your body is pulled due north. So if you sleep in north, there's no pull. Just like it pulls a compass, it pulls every nerve cell in your body.
Get rid of the call.
I blew my own mind. First picture is the real North Pole. I blew my own mind.
They showed it kinda. Like, remember, I'm saying this is Garden of Eden. We keep going. They're like, that is right above us. That's what I'm getting. This is North America. And that Garden of Eden is right here. So what is this then? And what is that? And all this out here, the outer lands. What is all that? Is this the firmament, ice wall? And what's all this out here?
Friends, do y'all want to hear a story time about how I done found out some stuff? Have y'all ever seen this document? No? Okay, good. I'm about to tell you what it is. It's in German, but I'm about to translate for you real quick. Y'all remember how that one time we was talking about Agatha and Admiral Byrd and how he flew into the inner earth and he saw these he got in there? Well, this is a step-by-step on how to get Agatha from the South Pole. And this is from German forces, this man named Carl Unger, and he wrote directions. And this is the English version. In step 9, you can see he says, proceed to Agatha, full speed. And then it says further instructions in package number 3 only when arrived in Agatha to be opened. Oh, friends, but it's so much more. Hold on. So, friends, y'all know me when I was minding my business being nosy, I was trying to figure out how do we get there. And allegedly it's through cave systems. And one of those cave systems is the southernmost volcano that is active in Antarctica called Mount Erebus. Now the cave systems in Antarctica are clearly the most coldest places on Earth. So I said I definitely can't go through there. Mount Shasta, Mammoth Cave.
Hold on. They said if you wanted to go to the outer lands, you needed a vehicle that could fly and go underwater. It makes sense. If you got to go underwater through a volcano to get to the outer lands, these stories is matching up. How can people lie when you got one side that never even talked to people saying the same story as someone else on the other side of the world? Both are saying the same thing. How can they lie when you got two people that don't even talk to each other say the same thing? They both said, y'all better load up. Go pack your stuff. We going to the outer lands, y'all. We ain't going to hit this next reset. We're going to the outer lands. We about to ship up like Noah. Noah's Ark. It makes sense. What if Noah's Ark just wasn't straight gopher wood? What if it really was some type of flying device that can be in the air and go on the bottom? That's what I'm starting to think. Drop in y'all comments below what y'all think.
And the pyramids of Giza are all places that they say could be entrances to Agartha, right? Now, based on Admiral Byrd's account and this German soldier's account, baby, apparently people live down there in the middle of the earth. And allegedly, it's beautiful. And you might ask yourself, how could one live down there with no sun and no water? Hold please, friends. Hold please. Now, friends, as I continue to mind my business and be nosy for us so we can find out what's going on, I see that they done found oceans 400 miles beneath the Earth's surface. Not only that, friends, but they say it's enough water in those oceans to fill the Earth's surface oceans 3 times. Now, y'all see that little water right there on the top that say ocean? That's our oceans. And when you go down to this transition zone right here, baby, that's the area that has those oceans that can fill our oceans 3 times over, okay? Scientists have also found that there are mountains in that same area, friends. Mountains as large as the Himalayas. 410 feet beneath the Earth's surface. Now, in the Admiral Byrd diary, he says that when he was flying over the Arctic Circle, he saw a mountain range, woolly mammoths, green rolling hills, all of that. And allegedly, this was all in the opening in the North Pole. Now, friends, I went and found this picture of the poles in 1968 from a NASA satellite. On the right is the South Pole, and on the left is the North Pole. Now, mind you, the German guy said they get to Agartha by caves in Antarctica. And Admiral Byrd said you get to Agartha by going into this void in inner earth in the north.
They tried to tell us on Pirates of the Caribbean, one of my favorite ones, where the ship turned upside down. Y'all gotta see this. They tried to tell us, and hit that like a subscribe button. If you on the fence, we putting this together. You just can't be ghost participating. You gotta contribute. Watch this. Where up is down and down is up. Pirates of the Caribbean. I forgot which one. I'm gonna put it better for y'all when I edit this video. I'm gonna make it better right here so y'all can see it. Look what they had to do. They tried to tell us in Pirates of Caribbean. They have to throw it in our face first, y'all. Oh my God. There is a hollow earth. This whole time, like, man, there ain't no hollow earth, man. There ain't, you know what I'm saying? There's definitely something in the middle, man. Like, I'm like, hollow earth wouldn't fit. But as Earth being a stationary realm, we gotta go inside that. You know how scary that'd be?
Y'all, then I seen this last video that kind of threw me. This video was from 1987 from the Russian space station Mir of the North Pole. What is that? Friends, what is that? What is it? Agartha, is that you? So, friends, y'all really gonna have to tell me what y'all think on this one. I hope I really ain't get y'all up in too much of a tizzy, and I'm gonna have to call y'all back later on. Bye. Friends.
No, call us now. We need more. The crew mount up. We got the coordinates. We gotta go. We gotta avoid this reset, y'all. They tried to reset us. We gotta avoid it. We gotta go to the outer lands, man. Y'all tried to live to 200, 300, man. Go in these outer lands, bruh. We got the coordinates.
Do y'all want to hear a story time about how I done found out some stuff? Have y'all ever seen this document? No? Okay, good. I'm about to tell you what it is. It's in German, but I'm about to translate for you real quick. Y'all remember how that one time we was talking about Agartha and Admiral Byrd and how he flew into the inner earth and he saw these he got in there? Well, this is a step-by-step on how to get to Agartha from the South Pole. And this is from German forces, this man named Carl Unger, and he wrote directions. And this is the English version. In step 9, you can see he says, proceed to Agartha, full speed. And then it says further instructions in package number 3 only when arrived in Agatha to be opened. Oh, friends, but it's so much more. Hold on. So, friends, y'all know me when I was minding my business being nosy. I was trying to figure out how do we get there. And allegedly, it's through cave systems. And one of those cave systems is the southernmost volcano that is active in Antarctica called Mount Erebus. Now, the cave...
Erebus. Oh, we gotta go through there. Oh my God.
Cave systems in Antarctica are clearly the most coldest places on Earth, so I said I definitely can't go through there. Mount Shasta, Mammoth Cave, and the Pyramids of Giza are all places that they say could be entrances to Agatha, right? Now, based on Admiral Byrd's account and this German soldier's account, baby, apparently people live down there in the middle of the Earth. And allegedly it's...
In the middle of the Earth? Where does that remind you of? Godzilla vs. Kong. It had a whole civilization right here in the middle and hollow Earth, basically. They trying to tell us. We watching it on the movie. We like, that ain't real, man. That ain't real. This is based on a true story. Unbelievable.
Beautiful. And you might ask yourself, how could one live down there with no sun and no water? Hold please, friends. Hold please. Now, friends, as I continue to mind my business and be nosy for us so we can find out what's going on, I see that they have found oceans 400 miles beneath the Earth's surface. Not only that, friends, but they say it's enough water in those oceans to fill the Earth's surface oceans 3 times. Now, y'all see that little water right there on the top that say ocean? That's our oceans. And when you go down to this transition zone right here, baby, that's the area that has those oceans that can fill our oceans 3 times over, okay? Scientists have also found that there are mountains in that same area, friends. Mountains as large as the Himalayas. 410 feet beneath the Earth's surface. Now, in the Admiral Byrd diary, he says that when he was flying over the Arctic Circle, he saw a mountain range, woolly mammoths, green rolling hills, all of that. And allegedly, this was all in the opening in the North Pole. Now, friends, I went and found this picture of the poles in 1968 from a NASA satellite. On the right is the South Pole, and on the left is the North Pole.
And we gotta go right in there to go to Hollow Earth. Oh, no.
Now, mind you, the German guy said they get to Agatha by caves in Antarctica. And Admiral Byrd said you get to Agatha by going into this void in inner Earth in the north. Y'all, then I seen this last video that kind of threw me. This video was from 1987 from the Russian space station Mir of the North Pole. What is that? Friends, what is that?
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if they see this, if they know where this is at, they definitely went through there, man. And like they said on those past videos, y'all loved a lot. I loved it too. I went back and rewatched them, and I'm like, we gotta dive back in this. But anyways, if they know about this, you best believe they didn't put state of the art. They didn't went in there already. And like they said, there's conflict in those lands right now. The custodians, the Anunnaki, they in there already battling. The Anunnaki coming back. The Anunnaki coming back. They already done came back, and they probably already in there having conflict right now. The custodians and Anunnaki, they already got this, our little 7, 8 continents, however many there is, they already got these already under control. So they're like, man, we really ain't gotta mess with this. But the real battle is probably already taking place in there. That's what my hypothesis is. There's conflict already. Drop in the comments y'all thoughts, man. This is outrageous.
What is it? Agatha, is that you? So, friends, y'all really gonna have to tell me what y'all think on this one. I hope I really ain't get y'all up in too much of a tizzy, and I'm gonna have to call y'all back later on. Bye.
Shout out to Mo Graham Crackers for that video. She went through there. She said, Agatha? Agatha.
According to Wikipedia, Agartha is a legendary kingdom that is said to be located on the inner surface of the earth.
Did y'all hear that? I'm gonna do it again. Argatha.
According to Wikipedia, Agartha is a legendary kingdom that is said to be located on the inner surface of the earth.
Oh man. These waters are never ending. You need to go by air and you need to go by sea. And I'm just sitting there thinking, why do we have to go by sea to get there? It doesn't make sense. We just need an airship to take us all the way there, right? No, buddy. They tried to show us in Pirates of the Caribbean. Down is up and up is down. They tried to show us. My mind is literally blown, y'all. This is beyond interesting. This is a whole new dynamic to my paradigm. Drop in the comments your thoughts. Please. Argatha, y'all. How many of y'all knew about Argatha, Hollow Earth, Mount Erebus? You know, I know some of y'all some dark water vets, man. It's, you know, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, you know. I'm just the leader of these dark waters, you know. I need the research team to really kick in. Oh boy. I don't know if I'm ready for this, but we got to dive in anyway.
Earth Network conspiracy theory? It's the idea that the Earth is hollow and a secret society called the Agartha Network lives inside. They supposedly have advanced technology and supernatural powers, and control major events in human history from underground. Some people even believe the entrance to their world is in Antarctica. But there's no scientific evidence to support this theory, and it's widely regarded as a conspiracy with no basis in fact. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.
The hollow earth one, I was like, that is so ridiculous. But then they discovered 3 times as much water inside the earth than there is in the oceans.
Literally, there's like massive empty spaces down there bigger than the Grand Canyon.
The finding published in Science suggests that a reservoir of water hidden in the earth's mantle is more than 400 miles below the surface. All this water, 3 times the volume of water on the surface, is trapped inside the rocks.
If there were voids within the earth and there was like some kind of heat source, theoretically, some life form could evolve down there just like we did.
But the hollow earth one, I was like, that is so ridiculous.
Are you guys aware that we have an inner earth civilization that lives underground? Earth is actually hollowed out, and it's different beings that live inside the planet. Inner earth is called Agartha, with the capital city being Shambhala. This is a real place, and these beings that stay there have a higher conscience than us and more spiritually advanced. The women inside of Agartha is 10 to 12 feet tall, and the men are even taller. These beings have the conscience of the 9th and the 12th dimension. Meanwhile, us up here on the surface are anywhere from the 3rd to the 5th dimension. And they are the ones who run the capital city of Shambhala. You would also have the Delros. These are really tall, heavy-set people, and they need an advanced wheelchair to get around. Their wheelchairs will levitate in the air and take them anywhere they need to go. These species of people also mixed their seeds with each other and made new species. We have portals and stargates underground, and they are protected by the Guardians. Some of these people inside the earth are survivors of the Atlantis flood. That is also known as Noah's flood in the Bible. And majority of these people use telepathy. They will send brain waves through your brain to communicate with you. So these beings rarely talk in the inner earth, and they will only let the righteous ones come down. Peace and Ashe. Hope y'all like the lecture. Are you guys aware that we have an inner earth
All I'm thinking about is the newest Godzilla movie where they were in inner earth and those people were talking with telepathy. They tried to show us. Dropping your thoughts below. This is getting wild. These waters, we are officially in Dark Waters 9. If you don't know already, we are officially there.
Inside the Hollow Earth, been living there for 2,500 years. There is one continent inside the Earth and one ocean, their capital city, is built around the original lost Garden of Eden. The vegetation grows like a paradise. The people live to be up to 800 years old. They communicate with telepathy. The inner Earth people have built these androids that fly their flying saucers out to reconnoiter the outer Earth. Our government has been knocking flying saucers out of the sky and back engineering these flying saucers. The people that live in the Hollow Earth are not extraterrestrials. They're from the lost tribes of Israel.
So what if all these spacecrafts we be seeing be coming straight up out of that north?
Inside the Hollow Earth, been living there for 25.
This is getting deep. This is Deep Waters 9. You go so deep, you turn around, and next thing you know, you're right side up.
500 years. There is one continent inside the Earth and one ocean, their capital city, is built around the original lost Garden of Eden. The vegetation grows like a paradise. The people live to be up to 800 years old. They communicate with telepathy. The inner Earth people have built these androids that fly their flying saucers out to reconnoiter the outer Earth. Our government has been knocking flying saucers out of the sky and back engineering these flying saucers. The people that live in the Hollow Earth are not extraterrestrials. They're from the lost tribes of Israel.
He said they're not extraterrestrials. They are from the lost tribes of Israel.
Could you give us your name?
Yes, it's Billy Woodard.
Have you ever worked for a government agency?
I've ever worked for a government agency besides the Air Force?
Besides the Air Force?
No.
No. What did you do for the Air Force?
What did I do for the Air Force? Well, I worked at Area 51.
What did you do at Area 51?
I read a lot of reports.
So you're saying they brought you in and set you down at a desk and had you just read reports?
Yes, lots of them.
To what end?
Well,
we're going to watch this whole thing, but just notice this He-Man device he has. The same thing He-Man had on his head. Maybe I need to get some type of copper channel blocking frequency, you know? He knows something I don't.
Well, they wanted my comments on them, on some of them. They wanted to know basically what my take on it was. Several reports that I read were mediocre. The ones that piqued my interest were ones about Admiral Byrd and things of that nature.
Why do they keep bringing up Admiral Byrd? That is scaring me, y'all. Like, it's just like everyone that's talking about Agartha is talking about Admiral Byrd. Like, if you thought you was a truther and you haven't really, you know, talked about Admiral Byrd or, you know, Agartha, I see. I am behind the curveball here. It is. Why are they talking about Admiral Byrd, y'all? This is just making it creepy, man. It's like, damn. What do they know? I thought I knew the whole story. It turns out I only knew 10%, 5% of the story. Look at what he's wearing.
So can you tell us about some of the reports that you read on Admiral Byrd?
I read his original diary, the one that, the true diary, not the one floating around the internet.
Was this original copy of the diary?
The original copy.
What did it look like?
What did it look like? It was in the form of a flight log.
So his diary was written into his flight log?
Yes,
As a
it
pilot,
was.
he would keep a log.
Yes, he would.
Let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Because you didn't just happen into a job at Area 51. There's a bit of history behind there, isn't there?
Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of history behind that.
Well, when I was at the age of 12, I had an incident occur about when I was in the Scouts, and it had to do with being picked up by a saucer or UFO, if you want to call it that. And it was quite an interesting event.
You want to tell us a little bit about what happened?
I can tell you the whole thing if you want.
Sure, let's go. Let's go.
Well, me and my friend were on our way back from the scout meeting, and we got to the edge of the cornfield that goes for about a mile before you get to the house, and then there's a road that goes around it. And I told my friend, I said, well, I'm going to take a shortcut through the cornfield because it's shorter. He said, well, I'm going to keep going around the road because, you know, the corn stalks look like they're going to reach down and grab you. So he's kind of finicky about not wanting to do that. So I said, fine. I parted with him. He went on around the road, and I went through the cornfield. Halfway through the cornfield.
Hey, go get y'all snacks or something. Get you something to drink because this is about to be a good one. I can feel it. I hope y'all rock with me hard enough so I can eat a little bit of popcorn.
Field. I looked up and I saw what looked like a star, but it got brighter, and got brighter, and got brighter. And then the next thing I realized, the entire area I was standing in was lit up just like daylight. You could, so bright, you could actually see the kernels on the corn. That's pretty bright. I looked up and I'm into this light, and I heard a voice come from it. It says, Billy, we are here to take you on a journey if you would like to go. And I said, yes. Without hesitation, I said, sure, let's go. Next thing I know, I'm looking down and the ground's going further away and I'm getting lifted up into this craft. And so next thing I know, I'm inside this craft. And they asked me, what do I see? I said, all I see is bright light. And they toned it down to where I could see my surroundings. And everything was in a circular pattern around inside this vessel. And the people were extremely tall. By standards for a child, extremely tall can be anywhere from 6 feet on up. But these people were way up there.
What did they look like?
Like you or me, except very tall in stature. The female was somewhere between, I would say, between 10 to 12 feet, and the man was taller than that. And they spoke very gently, and they said, all right, how good are you in geography? And I said, straight A student. And they said, we'd like you to tell us where we are as we go over the different states. And the one we left from was Texas, Wichita Falls, Texas. So that's fine. We started going over the different different states, different flags, and I recognized the flags as we went over them. And I started naming them off. And we got up to Canada and the Canadian flag, and then they said, where are we now? And I said, I don't know, we're over ice and snow. And I said, yes, we're above Canada. We're in the Arctic Circle.
You said flags, so you could see the flags?
Yes. Through the bottom of the craft, you could look down through the craft, which was transparent, and you could see passing over these cities. And it was quite interesting.
Now, before we continue on the story, I want to go back to the cornfield for a second.
Okay.
What time of year was it?
Fall.
Fall. Okay.
Yeah.
And as you were being brought up into the craft, what was that sensation like?
Like a lifting. Just suddenly weightless. It's like the gravity around my body was defied, and I was pulled into the craft.
And were you pulled in from the bottom, from the side?
From the bottom.
From the bottom.
Yeah.
Were there doors?
Didn't seem like no doors. It looked like I was going right into a solid bottom, but I went right through it.
Interesting. And then you mentioned the light. Is that what you came into, was solid light?
Yes.
The bright white light, they asked you?
What did I see? And I said, nothing but bright light.
And then they toned it down. Okay, thank you.
And then they turned it down.
Okay. So the flags that you saw as you were flying over the States, what was your altitude?
Very low.
So you weren't that high at all?
No, we weren't high at all.
Was this daytime?
It was nighttime.
At the night.
It was night.
So where were these flags?
They were, well, on the buildings that we passed over. We passed over from Texas, went to, passed over through Oklahoma, the Oklahoma flag, and then they went up from there to the state above Oklahoma. I have to have a map to tell you which ones they are.
Okay. So do you recall any landmarks?
Landmarks, yeah, the buildings are more like the capitals.
Okay, so you're flying over the capitals then?
Mm-hmm.
So you're on the craft and you're heading
Yes.
all over Canada.
Right.
What happened next?
Northeast over, we went over like Baffin Bay and Canada. So, you know, we were, by that time I'm totally lost. I don't know where we are. And they said, do you see the glow ahead of us? And I said, yes, I do. What is that? And they said, that's the entrance to Hollow Earth. I said, Hollow Earth? I said, wait a minute. We're taught in school that the Earth is solid and it has a molten core and all this. And now you're telling me it's hollow? And they said, yes, it is hollow. And they said, what you learn is a shame because it's all a lie. And I said, okay. How long are we going to be gone on this trip? And he says, you're going to be gone for 6 Earth months. And I said, 6 months? I'll be grounded for life. That was my thought, you know. And they said, no, you won't be grounded for life. This says you'll be missed. Yes, but when you return, your body will be replenished, and all the childhood diseases or sicknesses that you were experiencing will be gone.
What sicknesses were you experiencing at the time?
Well, like the mumps, the measles, and stuff like this. But at the time, they said that your immune system is starting to break down and must be replenished. Okay. And that was one of the reasons for the going for the trip.
So you didn't have the mumps and the measles and all the stuff at the same time at that moment. It was just that what they're telling you.
Ah, damn, we need part 2.
Telling you.
It was a fortification against it.
Okay.
And they fortified my body. They gave me a liquid to drink, which tasted like grape juice, but it's very sweet. And I drank it, and it tasted extremely well, and it energized my body as I drank it.
Were you ill when they picked you up?
No, I didn't think I was ill.
Okay.
They said that there were that the immune system had started to deteriorate, and that they needed to reinforce it.
So you see the light ahead. What happened?
I see the light ahead, and we got closer and closer to it. And as we started to curve into it, I said, that's a hole. And they said, yes, that's a hole. And so we went into the hole. We landed at a city inside, and they said, do you know where you are? And I said, no. I'm presuming inside Hollow Earth. And they said, yes, you are.
Tell me about the city.
The city was not like a city on the surface. The cities on the surface are skyscrapers, you know, big tall buildings and all this. And the inside, all the buildings are round. They don't have roofs on them, but they're round. And they're built in and around Mother Nature. They're not, you don't see any highways or sidewalks or anything like this. It's all round structures in and around nature.
With no roof.
With no roofs.
What were they made of?
It looked like a marble type substance, but yet it could, I don't think it was marble. I think it was more like crystal.
So smooth?
It's very smooth.
Reflective?
Very reflective. And we landed, and of course I started walking around. And I met several different beings, people, and some of them announced that they were from the surface.
You mentioned the light going in.
Yes.
Did you look up once you landed?
Yes, and I saw a sun that never moved.
What color was it?
It was more between an orange and a yellow.
Could you feel the heat coming from it?
A heat, yeah, more like a soft heat. It wasn't harsh at all. It wasn't bright either. It was very easy on the eyes.
So is there any time of day on the surface that you'd say would be similar to that kind of a lighting effect?
Twilight, maybe.
Twilight?
Yeah. When the sun starts dropping down.
When you look up, can you see beyond this light and see surface on the other side?
As you look outward, you see the horizon rise like this instead of straight across. You actually see it curve upward.
Are there clouds?
No clouds.
Where does the water come from? Does it rain?
It mists from the sky, but it is not like a harsh rain like it is here. The clouds up here are very thick, and in essence, do they have? Sometimes they have a cloud once in a while in the sky, but it's more of a very like a translucent, looking through it. Very, very not dense at all. Very light. And the atmosphere was so exuberating, so refreshing and pure. It was breathing air that just had no smell or taste or anything like it does up here. Up here around cities, you breathe the air and you breathe that smog and stuff. Nothing like that there, at all. It was just the purest smell, purest energy. When you breathe it, you're just energized totally.
Okay, so you met some people.
Yes, I did.
Someone from the surface.
I met one individual. It was a female. She was rather tall, but and I looked at her, and her face looked familiar, and I told her, "You look familiar," and she said, "I should be familiar. I'm Amelia Earhart."
What year was this? You were 12 years old. What year was this?
I'm 12 years old. Well, let me think back here. I was born, brought to the surface in '51. Let's see.
63, 64?
60, yep, between 63 and 60.
Who is Amelia Earhart? I would tell you guys to drop it in the comments, but I need to know right now. Where's my phone? I have no idea who Amelia Earhart is. Amelia Earhart.
According to Wikipedia, Amelia Mary Earhart was an American aviation pioneer
Who disappeared in 1937 while trying to become the first female pilot to fly around the world. What? Unbelievable.
64, somewhere in that range. Anybody got a calculator? It's in that range there somewhere.
That triangle's starting to make a lot of sense. it just hit me. I'm like, man, what about that triangle everybody be yelling about? Hey, I don't know.
When me and my sister were brought to the surface, we were brought to the surface not as babies, but as toddlers.
We'll come back to that story.
Yeah.
About how that all started. Let's
Right.
finish this one. You met Amelia Earhart.
Amelia Earhart. I also met a group of gentlemen that were, they were dressed in robes, but they were aviators as well. And they had, I didn't recognize them, but they were talking to me because they knew I was from the surface. They said that, I said, well, who are you? And they said, we were Navy pilots. And our aircraft disappeared off of
What they're telling you.
it was a fortification against it.
Okay.
We need part 3. Don't worry, I found all of them, y'all. Don't worry.
Aviators as well. And they had, I didn't recognize them, but they were talking to me because they knew I was from the surface. They said that, I said, well, who are you? And they said, we were Navy pilots. And our aircraft disappeared off of the Bermuda Triangle.
So you met these pilots. They were lost in the Bermuda Triangle?
Yes.
Do you remember their names?
Their names? No, I remember their flight they were talking about, Flight 19, off of Muscle Shoals, Florida. That was Flight 19.
Do you know what year Flight 19 got lost?
It was back in 47 or 45 or 47, I'm not quite sure
His
exactly.
probably 1964.
Yeah.
Were they looking like some really old guys?
No, very young.
So are you saying when you go into the Hollow Earth,
You don't age.
You don't age.
There is no age. It's not like, well, see, time is an illusion. Even up here it's an illusion. But people still go by it. But it's really, down there, it's like, how do you explain it? Is everyone looks young. You know, they don't look old. You don't see people walking around with white hair and white beards. They're all very, very young looking.
Do you think you suppose it's because of the place itself, or is it because of the people?
I think it's because of a little bit of both. A little bit because of the place and because of the people. The place is indigenous to immortality or to longevity. Everything I saw down there was huge in size. I mean, even insects flying through the air were huge. They weren't small little insects. They were quite large.
So do the mosquitoes?
Dragonflies come flying by about 6 foot across. Didn't see any mosquitoes, no.
I was going to ask, are the mosquitoes have feathers, and do they carry you away?
No. Mosquitoes with feathers? I don't think so, no.
Well, you know, there's that saying, the mosquitoes are so big down there that they'll carry you off. Anyhow.
No, okay. The creatures were large. The insects were large. The people were large. I looked up and I saw a flying pterodactyl. And of course, that just didn't register too well. And I said, "Wait, that's a pterodactyl." And they said, "Yes, it is." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I saw dinosaurs.
Which ones did you see?
Well, I saw the pterodactyl in the air, and I saw a T-Rex walk by. And of course, T-Rex is a vegetarian. It's not a flesh-eating animal.
Really, with all those teeth?
That's for ripping and tearing plants, not ripping and tearing flesh.
So, wouldn't they be wild? I mean, It seems kind of a dangerous situation.
It's not dangerous at all. Everybody down there speaks with telepathy. That's the norm.
So what does that have to do with the dinosaurs not being dangerous?
The dinosaurs speak with telepathy as well.
So you're telling me that you can talk to the dinosaurs?
Yes, you can. You can talk to the trees, you can talk to the dinosaurs, you can talk to plants, whatever, and you get a response.
T-Rexes are kind of a big animal.
Yeah, they are.
Are there accidents? Does a T-Rex maybe accidentally kick an inhabitant or step on one, or?
No, they don't step on nobody.
Sit on one, maybe? I've seen people sit on Chihuahua. You never know.
Sit on a Chihuahua?
I saw somebody do it once accidentally. The Chihuahua wasn't too thrilled with that, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With something that's small in relation to something so large, it's easy not to catch.
Well, when they walk, they're very meticulous in where they walk.
Okay, enough about the dinosaurs.
Yes.
So you saw a lot of very large things down here.
A lot of very large.
You met these pilots.
Yes.
Amelia Earhart.
Yep.
What happened next?
Then they had me go into a room, actually a building, in one of the round buildings. They had me sit down in a chair, and this mist, bluish mist, came down over me. And I said, "What's this?" And they said, "You're being detoxified, decontaminated. All the impurities that are in your body are being taken out. And so your immune system will be fortified when you return home to the surface." And I said, "Well, I don't really want to go. I want to stay here." And they said, "Yes, we know you want to stay here, but you're not staying here."
What was compelling you to want to stay there? Was it any?
It just felt, it's the beauty of everything around you. I mean, everything is so not what it is on the surface. When you look out on the surface, what do you see? You see cars, you see planes flying over, and
not everywhere, man. There's if you in the city, I get it, but if you out in the country, you know, it's beautiful, man. If you can look at the trees, you can look at the stars, you know, it's not everywhere is just cities and cars, but I get it. I get what he's saying.
Causing, you know, vapor trails behind them, and their sky's not clear, and the sky smells strange. You can actually taste the air here. It's just not there. You know, all that's not there. It's all pure. Everything is pure, and everything's in harmony. I didn't hear any. I didn't hear any bad language while I was there. Nobody spoke as you would speak. It was all from communication, mind to mind. It was really, really wonderful feeling.
So in that communication, mind to mind, are you hearing a voice in your head, or is it something different?
It's more or less like a communication from their mind to my mind. You can do it on the surface too. You just have to sit down and get away from all the distractions, which is really hard on the surface because you've got all these distractions, you know, every come from all different directions. But if you were to get out with Mother Nature and just be quiet and turn your cell phones off and all these condiments that you like, devices, then you could communicate telepathically. But you get so caught up in the mundane world that you lose sight of it. It's just like, it's too many distractions to really communicate up here through telepathy. It's easier to talk. But talking, I think, is what got man in trouble in the first place.
So you get sprayed with this blue mist.
Yes. And then after that, they said, you're free to travel wherever you want to travel. And we'll be with you a little bit later on. We'll take you to the learning centers and re-educate you again. And so I was able to, freely walk around and talk to people and talk to beings. I saw several different type of races there. Besides the Aryanians, I saw the Lemurians. I saw the insectoids. They look like mantis almost, similar to a mantis. They don't have 6 legs, but they have 2 appendages they walk on, and then the appendages for hands, or not really hands, are like pinchers almost. And they talk with telepathy. And they're not very short.
I don't know, man. It just is like T-Rexes. I had a theory that
Aviators
T-Rexes
as well.
The T-Rex story, man, I don't know. I just feel like T-Rexes, they were like dragons at one point, and I seen a video that said that because wings don't really have bones, so that kind of got me thinking, man. And they're plant eaters with all that teeth. It's just, and the insectoids, or however he said it, it's just, what do they eat? Do they eat the dragonflies or the other stuff? It's just, that's a crazy story. That's probably one of the most craziest stories I ever heard in my life, man. Drop in the comments below if you got any more information on that. That pilot though, I didn't know about that pilot. Did y'all? What was her name? Amelia Earhart. All right, guys, something came to mind after hearing his story. This came to mind. I wanted to share it with you guys because maybe this might add new clues to where it possibly went and what is actually surrounding this plane. Is this a real event? I don't know. Should just poofs. It just disappears. How are they able to get a thermal is my question.
So if you haven't heard by now, deep sea explorers may have found Amelia Earhart's long-lost plane. According to her final radio messages with the U.S. Coast Guard vessel stationed nearby, all contact with Earhart ceased on July 2nd after 8:43 a.m. And that is supposedly the last anyone has ever heard from her. Until the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, or TGAR, published a paper in 2018 that strongly refutes this, stating that they have ample evidence to show that Earhart sent out radio distress messages for several days after July 2nd. After Earhart disappeared, the U.S. Navy put out an all ships, all stations bulletin. Authorities asked anyone with a radio and a trained ear to tune in to the radio frequencies that Earhart was using on her trip. And this was not as simple as it sounds. So the people who heard Earhart's distress messages just happened to be listening to the radio at the right time. And one of those people was a 15-year-old girl listening in from St. Petersburg, Florida, who transcribed some of the desperate phrases she heard. Quote, "Water's high, water's knee deep. Let me out. Help us quick." A housewife in Toronto heard a shorter message. Quote, "We have taken in water. We can't hold on much longer." On July 3rd, a woman named Nina Paxton from Ashland, Kentucky, said she heard Earhart say, quote, "KHAQQ calling," and that she was on or near a little island at a point near, and then it cuts out. Then she says something about a storm and that the wind was blowing. "We will have to get out of here. We can't stay here long." What happened to Amelia Earhart after that has vexed the world for nearly 87 years. TIGAR is just one group of researchers who have dedicated their time and resources to solving one of aviation's greatest mysteries. So here's what they discovered. So they conducted an extensive analysis of more than 2,000 Coast Guard and U.S. Navy log entries and tracked down 57 credible post-loss radio messages reported in the days after Earhart's disappearance to construct a picture of what may have happened in those final days. Based on the quality of the radio messages, TIGAR deduced that the point of origin of these radio messages were coming from Gardner Island, because the quality of radio reception decreased the farther you moved away from Gardner Island. And only at Baker Island, which is the station closest to Gardner, did an operator hear a strong, clear voice signal with the plane's call sign, KHAQQ. And if you notice, the island just above Baker is Howland Island. That is the island that Earhart and Noonan were supposed to land at to refuel and never arrived. And eerily enough, Earhart's very last radio message to the U.S. Coast Guard vessel at 8:43 a.m. was her stating that she was on the line, position 157-337, running north and south. And what island happens to be on this line of position? It's Nukumaro Island, also known as Gardner Island. So TIGAR deduced that Earhart and Noonan had to basically crash land on Gardner Island and were marooned on the reef. And the reason TIGAR believed this is absolutely bonkers nutso science. I mean that in a good way. Okay, if the plane was stuck on the reef at Gardner Island, then that presented Earhart with a problem. The plane's radio relied on the aircraft's batteries, but you need the batteries to start the engine. So if they kept the radio on and continued to send distress messages, then they would run out of the battery and they wouldn't be able to start the plane. But here's the rub. The timing of the distress messages are strange. TIGAR believed that there was a pattern to them that was oddly specific, as if Earhart was only sending distress messages when the tide was out. So TIGAR hypothesized that the plane was halfway underwater, and thus Earhart could only send messages when the water level was low enough for the propeller tip to clear. Because again, she needed to turn the engine on to send the radio message. In other words, TIGAR concluded that Earhart and Noonan had to stick to a certain schedule based on the tide. They're seeking shelter, shade, and food during the day, and then they head back to the plane during low tide to try the radio message again. To test their hypothesis, TIGAR compared past tidal levels and reef height data from Gardner Reef to the post-loss signals on an hour-by-hour timeline. And in their words, the correlation was astounding. Every credible transmission only occurred when the water level was low enough for the propeller to clear. But there's even more to the story. TIGAR didn't just randomly start this investigation based solely on the post-lost radio messages. In 1940, bones were discovered on Gardner Island, which was originally believed to have belonged to Earhart, but then were, quote, misidentified and discarded. So TIGAR built this body of evidence on top of forensic anthropologist Dr. Richard Yancey's paper in 2018, which reanalyzed the bone evidence using modern-day techniques. These bones on Gardner Island were found by a British expedition team who stumbled upon a skull, other skeletal parts, and the remains of what looked like a woman's shoe. Among these bones was a box that held a Brandis Navy surveying sextant made in 1918 and a bottle of Benedictine, an herbal liqueur. I wanted to do a little bit of digging to see if Benedictine was even popular in the 1930s when Earhart was alive. And I found out that Benedictine was one of the most popular cocktails in 1930s New York during the Prohibition. And Amelia Earhart lived in New York for a while. She went to Columbia University, and then after graduating, she continued to live there for a few years because her husband owned a publishing company there. So it's totally possible that she packed the Benedictine as part of her belongings for the flight. Anyways, the 13 bones were shipped to Fiji and were studied by D.W. Hoodless, who determined that the skeleton was a man and the bones were subsequently chucked. But since the bones are gone, Jans co-developed a computer program that can estimate sex and ancestry by using skeletal measurements, called Fordisk. Jans compared the lengths of the bones to Earhart's measurements, using her height, weight, body build, limb lengths, and proportions from both photographs and information found on her pilot's and driver's licenses. The Fordisk analysis not only found the bones were female, that Earhart's bones were, quote, more similar to the Gardner bones than 99% of individuals in a large reference sample. So in his paper, Dr. Jans says that the only documented person to whom these Gardner bones could belong to is Amelia Earhart. Although doing a proper DNA analysis on the actual bones would give us the clearest and most definitive answer, the Fordisk analysis comes pretty darn close. This, coupled with the Teagar's radio message analysis, paints a pretty compelling yet distressing picture. One can only imagine what was going through her mind in those final moments.
Did you guys hear about this story? You know, if you're a little bit older, you might.
So if you haven't heard by now,
If you're a little bit older, you might have heard about this story. This is the first time I'm ever hearing about it. Drop in the comments below your thoughts.
Did they finally find Amelia Earhart?
Well, Santa, the answer to your question is maybe, but this video does not show Amelia Earhart's wreckage. This is a video that I was recently tagged in that shows this old mangled plane being pulled from the water here. A lot of people were wondering whether or not this is Amelia Earhart's plane. The answer to that question is a resounding no. Now, for those that don't know, Amelia Earhart is a massive aviation figure, and she's known for flying across the Atlantic back in 1932. But during 1937, when she was trying to fly across the world, she ended up going missing with her plane as well as her navigator. Since going missing in the Pacific Ocean back in 1937, there have been numerous times where people have gotten sonar photographs of the bottom of the ocean and said, hey, look, we found Amelia Earhart's plane. However, almost all of these have been incorrect. With that being said, here's the most recent sonar ping that people are thinking might be Amelia's plane. There's no way of knowing until we can see some actual concrete evidence here, but what do you guys think? Does this look like her plane or not?
You know, everyone's talking about Earhart, but what about the guy that was with her, Noonan? Did they ever find him? That's what I was trying to hope, in that maybe they might have found Noonan in that story, but that's a mystery, y'all.
I'm about to show y'all quite possibly the scariest thing I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. Like in 2011 when everything was allowed on YouTube. New footage of the jellyfishes just came out. What I'm about to show you, you will never unsee, so get ready. Before we get into the very sinister, scary things I'm about to show you, for those who don't know, this is some alien crap that's been seen all over the world and just recently Afghanistan. So thank you, Jeremy. Look very closely down here. What are these things hanging from the jellyfish UFO? I'm gonna blow this up right here. What's that look like to you? This is literally terrifying, y'all. Now do you see it? What is that? And what are all these things hanging down? Legs? Now you have to see it. Come on now. Exactly. Now you see, and you will never be able to unsee that. Now look at this down view. What do you know?
It looks like some type of creature's dangling from it.
Does this not look like a girl? What is this? Y'all, the jellyfish UFO's birth graves. Graves. How would you even argue? There's like 7 of them right here. And for anyone who doesn't know, graves are a flesh suit made by the fallen angels and demons inhabit them. That's it. My thing is, these things are getting very common. I've been telling y'all, we are going to have grave disclosure very soon. And not just that. Fallen angels. Goodbye. I'm about to show y'all quite...
Hold on, what was that show on HBO? The Watchers? Oh, man.
Good photographers. Do you really think our ancient past could move and lift something like this? Good old Egypt was built with some of the most mysterious construction techniques thousands of years ago that we still question today. And honestly, the more we find, the less sense it makes. To this day, historians and Google debunkers love pretending like they know exactly how our ancestors did it, despite us not being able to replicate half of what they did using their suspected methods in modern times. Yet these stone blocks just keep on getting bigger and bigger, showing us how little we really know. But oh, this right here, this is not Egypt. Everything you just saw is in Utah in the United States. The experts are deadass trying to convince themselves at this point that these are natural. Found just a little north of Monument Valley in Utah, home to some of the most unique geological features in the world. Quite literally, these are unbelievable, and there's virtually no other place on Earth with the same formations found in this region. With iconic structures we're told are completely natural, when some of them kind of look like no, I'm not gonna go there. Or maybe, okay, no, these are from the Grand Canyon, which is nearby, and I already made another video on that, so go check it out after if you want. Now, this area here is rumored to be an ancient quarry, as you can tell by these perfectly cut megalithic stone blocks. A lot of them. For some
Were they looking for lithium? I don't know.
Nice straight lines and 90-degree angles, exactly what you would expect from a quarry where stone blocks are cut to be used in other structures elsewhere. Just as we see across Egypt, stone quarries everywhere that were used to build their signature monuments. Megalithic structures, quarries. Megalithic structures, quarries? Amateur explorers were so intrigued they measured the blocks of this ancient Utah mega quarry, showing some of them to be almost exactly 21 feet in every direction. A near perfect cube, and estimated to weigh around 670 tons. Some of the heaviest stones in the pyramids of Egypt ranged from 80 to 100 tons, and we already question how those were moved. 670-ton stone blocks are magnitudes heavier and exponentially more difficult to lift and move than those, with the longer rectangular ones being closer to 900 tons. How on earth would anyone move these thousands of years ago? Missing blocks in some areas, further suggesting that whatever method would have been used is beyond anything we know. Now, to the average person, this irrefutably debunks the myth. If they were so heavy that ancient humans had no way to move them, they must have not cut them in the first place, and these are completely natural. Well, what about the stones at Baalbek in Lebanon, some of the biggest in the world, which we know were quarried and used by humans? We just have no idea how. There are the Trilithon stones at the Temple of Jupiter, each weighing an estimated 800 tons, said to have been built by the Romans, but some claim they actually established their temples on top of megalithic foundations they found there from thousands of years earlier. Or how about the even larger stone of the pregnant woman lying nearby, weighing in at 1,000 tons, with some insisting these to be up to 9,000 years old. And let me tell you, they sure did not move these by dragging them in the sand. 2-ton blocks? Maybe. 1,000? Not a chance. If it was done in Baalbek, what's stopping it from being possible in Utah? What's that? I think the Google debunkers are still trying to justify this one. Let's hear what they got. Well, actually, it's just a simple case of orthogonal fracturing, which is totally natural, and here's an extensive scientific paper that explains it. Natural. Right. I think it's time you took your meds. You've done enough Googling for the day. For the rest of us crazies who dare question the facts, could this be the site of, dare I say it, an advanced ancient civilization far before our known historic timeline? Because this quarry is more bricked up than I am. Interestingly enough, there are also some intriguing petroglyphs in the area. Drawings carved into rock around the area, likely left behind by the Navajo people, depicting scenes of tall humanoid beings, along with multiple uses of a spiral-looking symbol. In traditional Navajo culture, the spiral symbolizes time. Could this indicate this was from a very, very long time ago? Or perhaps even beings that travel through time? They do believe Monument Valley to be a sacred site that was built by the holy people, and the rock formations found here are the remains of these past beings that used to roam the earth. Navajo mythology suggests that the world has gone through many cycles, each one ending in a cataclysm that resets us back to zero, and according to them, the most recent one being a worldwide flood that washed their civilization away. Don't worry, even I'm getting tired of the story. Today, only remnants remain, found among the rock formations of Monument Valley and other peculiar finds like this rumored ancient mega quarry. Now, before all the debunkers start fuming in the comments, there's still the possibility that these are somehow completely natural, with sand accumulating in sedimentary layers, getting compacted over millions of years, and tectonic plates pushing them up into perfectly cut blocks. Which I can see something like this could maybe get away with being called natural. This, I don't know, seems like a stretch to me.
It is a stretch, man. They sliced them boys, man. Look at how perfect these are. These, I mean, they're not perfect, but you could definitely tell some type of hand tool was at work here. They was definitely farming these, man. But yeah.
Ha! Listening to you makes me feel smart. I just trust the science. Listen, little bro, if I step outside and it's raining, I don't care if a meteorologist with 3 PhDs tells me it's not raining. If I see rain, it's raining. If someone tries convincing me the statue of David was not made by humans, but instead entirely through natural processes, and writes me a 500-page thesis explaining it with science, I'm still gonna question it. If a bunch of f***ing Google debunkers look at this and try to claim with a straight face that they are 1000% confirmed natural, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just gonna question it. Low-key, they're probably wrong though. Question everything. Yada yada yada, you know the drill. How about I just put the fries in the bag, bro? Do you really think
100%. Look at that. That was cut. A natural formation doing that? There's no way. Forget about it. Drop in the comments below your thoughts. And that's funny that they're talking about the Navajo people experiencing all these resets. When is the next one? And how many resets happen after Noah's flood is the question.
Found evidence. What looks like a cloud moving is actually just a bunch of drones. Check it out. See that right there? You see that? Well, look where the arrow is. Right there. Look at that thing. See? They're already able to do it right now. My ship. Now imagine if something was above that cloud. You wouldn't be able to see what it is. And then think about downwards. If they wanted to put it on the ground, like maybe 20 feet above you, it'd be the same thing. It's just gonna look like a building or something. Yeah. It's gonna be the same thing. Yeah, so they put it down below, and let's say you're in an airplane and you're looking down, it's just gonna look like everything's normal. But they can already do it. They can already do it. Yeah. That's insane. The world record for the most synced sequential drones was established in China with 8,100 drones. And imagine if they all can blow up.
Shows 8,100 drones flying simultaneously.
Those are all drones.
Which actually broke a world record, a new Guinness World Record. Who's to say you can't fly 8,100 drones around a $13 billion aircraft carrier?
2, 1.
That sounds
No, that is way too similar. Do y'all hear that? That is an excellent experiment. One more time, man.
Two, one.
that sounds
There's no way. They had to edit that. If that is true, that is a little bit frightening, because that is just even more validity. You know, some people need to see the hole in the hand, you know, but some people don't need all that. But if you do, I get it.
He doesn't understand English. He just feels more comfortable in Creole.
I always have reluctance to even speak slowly.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. What's your name, sir?
John.
John, pleasure to meet you, John.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
Hi. Would you like to cook your chocolate, sir?
Yes, I would.
Which one would you prefer, sir?
What flavors do you have?
Ooh, this is sugar, this is chocolate, vanilla, and dark chocolate.
I'll do chocolate.
Right on. Can we go on with chocolate? Here you go, sir.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
Pleasure. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Brandon, what's up, dude? How are you?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
There's no way. There's gotta be somebody under that suit. That is scary.
Can you live to be over 120, 140 without colloidal minerals? No. Can you get all these colloidal minerals out of our food supply in the United States? No. Well, can you keep all the things that we love about the United States and still get colloidal minerals? And the answer is, of course, yes. These colloidal minerals are available to you, and of course, they're plant-derived. They actually come from an ancient prehistoric plant deposit. About 1926, there was this prospector who was an abysmal failure in southeastern Utah, even though he couldn't find gold or silver, but he did notice when he drank this funky-tasting water in the stream, the only water source available to him, after a couple of weeks his arthritis went away. And he backtracked this stream and he found that it originated in a prehistoric valley that had a forest in it. And when these trees and brush and grasses took up all the elemental minerals from the soil, converted them to colloidal minerals for their own use, there was a cataclysmic event. That forest was entombed. We grind this stuff up into a flour, we soak it in a filtered spring water for 4 to 6 weeks, and we leach those colloidal minerals out of those plants that were taken up in the prehistoric days. Things that you can't get out of your soil and your food anymore today. Can you live to be over 120, 140 without colloidal minerals? No.
What was it called? The Fountain of Youth. That's what it sounded like. That used to be a myth, but could it be real? Oh yeah, you better believe it, Bucko. Um, Live streams coming soon where I'm working on getting all the equipment I need, the telescope, so we can look at these stars in this exact same format together. So it's not no CGI. It's not, it's we're literally watching at them because that looks like an angel. Fascinating.
And recording them. They reached over or ripped open my shirt to see if I was wired, if I was wiring and recording them. And they were the most sophisticated satanic warrior type person. They knew 5, 6 languages. They knew the ancient twilight languages. They knew how to conjure. They knew how to use Belteshazzar, Okwam, all these old Pictish languages of the Druids to summon. They are the real Luciferian. They've been through many human sacrificial things. So they sat there to tell me some of those things, what they've been involved with, how they sacrifice a human. I'm listening to all this stuff from them. And then they said to me, you have no idea, Russ, how many of us there are out there.
We are legion, I believe. That's what they said.
How many satanic, they use the term, chosen ones. You have no idea how many. You have no idea what's coming. We smell Christian blood. We are waiting for our day. And when the call is given, millions of us will be released. And they looked at me and said, you believe in revivals and you believe in Pentecost and the power of God. You believe in all that. We believe in the Black Awakening, a multi-continental release of power to activate the program demonized, where they've weaponized the demonic powers to these super soldiers.
The objective of the project was to create super soldiers.
They reached over or ripped open my shirt to see if I was
Pyramids in the Antarctica. Yeah. There's stuff, they're not really telling us everything about Antarctica, y'all.
The evidence for ancient technology is not going to be found near these temples. It's going to be the temple. This is Angkor Wat, and this is a CMOS sensor. Any digital camera will have one of these. That's Angkor Wat from above. What does a CMOS sensor do? It takes in light and converts that light to electrical signal. Why would ancients want to do that? To make that signal usable, we use something called a high-frequency oscillator. These create stable frequencies with no moving parts. They're used in everything. Should be no surprise at this point, the geometry of that oscillator is 4 resonators around one central resonator. Tesla uses these, which could be confused with ancient Peruvian architecture if you follow me. All resonators work by using cavities to excite and amplify a desired frequency in the center. Let's say we cut Angkor like that in half. I feel like it'd probably look a lot like that guy. Picked a great day to watch base forward. I'm full sending this one. You see that forested area conspicuously covered with trees? We scanned it with a laser on a drone to see what's underneath the trees. You know what they found?
What the hell is even that?
The acoustic waveguide for our oscillator happens to look just like that. If you watch the Prambanan video, you know that the interior of these temples looks just like a corrugated horn antenna. Those peaks are not decorative. They focus the signal as it exits the cone. This minimizes power loss and strengthens the signal. A phased array arrangement focuses the signal into the main horn. That is what the signal looks like, and that may be your design inspiration for a tower.
Okay, and this right here is just slightly to the left of focus.
When I'm looking at this, all I see is a wheel within a wheel. I'm just saying.
Still, same pattern. Now you can defocus like this on the moon, the sun, and it doesn't happen. You don't see this pattern. You only see this pattern in the middle of stars. Wow, that's incredible. Just incredible. Right there we are.
One thing you have to ask yourself, how did he know it was a wheel within a wheel back in the ancient times? What type of what type of telescope was he possibly using for him to see that? How close would a star have to be? You know, we got the Nikon 900s or whatever special telescopes, you know, and that's how we're able to see these. So how are they able to see that back in the day is the question that's running through my mind and what you need to be asking yourself. If you got the answer for that, please drop it in the comments below. We'll love to hear it.
Back in perfect focus. Let's tighten it up a little more. There we go. It's a little better. Then we're going to go back to the right. There's right of focus.
It looks like a spiral, doesn't it? Like you cut a inside of a tree or something.
And this, see, when you see a donut, like a straight up hole in the middle, that is completely out of focus. Still looks cool. And it shows you the water, the ripples in the water above the firmament, much, much clearer. That's because the eyepiece has been moved closer to the primary mirror, the objective lens of the telescope. So technically you are getting a closer look. It's just moved too close, so close that the center obstruction that holds the secondary mirror on the front of the telescope has come into view. Now you back it off, and it looks like you're zooming out. Man, look at that. See, now we don't have a hole or a donut anymore. Look at that. It's incredible.
You got some wolves out there?
Okay, and this right here.
But when you see this stuff in America, you know what's really weird? All the state capitol buildings that don't really match up. Like, why did they build something that was straight out of ancient Rome in like Iowa? You know, like in Nebraska.
2,500 people live in a town somewhere, and they build a post office that has 700 rooms and is like an ancient castle. It's the same like with the Mormon temple, where they said they went out to Utah, you know, with horse and buggy and nobody else out there, and they supposedly built this wonder of the world castle with no rails and no dump trucks and no cranes, and it goes down 40 to 60 feet underground with more building. And
even think about like the 1 year timelines. A lot of these buildings are 1 year wonders where they created this very elaborate stone building in 1 year. But then you think about some of these places that have 1 year timelines, and then they work in like Syracuse, you know, Albany, Syracuse, New York, these crazy places like that. Explain to me how much work they're getting done in the dead of winter when the roads would have been horrible. Then you add snow on it, and then the logistics make no sense. Even think, like I said, go back to World War II. We're told that the Germans were not necessarily defeated by the Russian army. They were defeated by the Russian winter. Yeah. Because even with the high-tech German stuff, they couldn't even move the equipment during a harsh Russian winter. Mm-hmm. So that is like the highest tech stuff in the 40s. And then you're talking about these things were built with horses and buggies in the 1840s. But when you...
Photography or something.
Holy cow. Wow, so big.
Yeah, the pool is 75 feet long.
Is it heated?
Yeah, it's all geothermally heated.
So I could go swimming in there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the water is kept at plus or minus 2 degrees, and the air temperature is kept at 80. So generally the water is between 80 and 82.
Really?
So
that is amazing. So what does the chlorine do to the building on the inside?
It's the saltwater pool.
Oh, okay.
We store large amounts of chlorine.
So that's the key, is salt water.
Salt water, and it keeps it, this is a high-tech pool. It keeps the pH perfect.
This is amazing.
I can't tell you which one. We've had this entire here.
Have you really? Well, now you've had me. No big deal. So here's a question. How blast rated is this part compared to the rest of the bunker?
It's equivalent for a blast radius for a surface blast because of that wedge shape I told you about.
Yeah.
Shockwave would go right over it, and it's sufficiently strong for that.
So what we got here? Now this is connected right next to the slide.
Cover this water for it. My agents got this out before you got here, and people were coming this weekend. Usually we have this over water in the heating. But this is the pit for the pump for the circulation, the chlorinator, automatic acid reservoir that keeps the pH right. It's got an autofill thing over here, and that's the pump for the waterfall.
So here's a good question. Are there full-time engineers?
Photography or something.
Holy cow.
Damn. A $30 million bunker. Look at the pool he's got, y'all. I'd be happy for a normal pool. He's got one underground. I've been watching The Walking Dead. How perfect would this be? I'm starting over, man. I'm so lost on The Walking Dead. I'm so lost on The Walking Dead. I don't even know. I guess season 10 just came out. No spoilers, y'all, please. You know, I'm watching I got up to 9 before, but I'm like, man, it's been 5 years since I watched The Walking Dead. So let me just start all the way over. And you know, I'm enjoying it, man. I can't stand what was Rick's wife's name? I can't stand her. I forgot her name. Daryl called her Olive. Olive from Popeye. I can't stand her, man. But yeah, I'm at the part where they just hit the prison, and they setting up the prison, y'all. It's yeah, I'm getting into Walking Dead, man, and I'm just thinking like, damn, if they found this building, they'll be set. And another thing, man, Why don't they use chainmail? You know what I'm saying? That's like the loophole in all zombie movies. If they just found like, you know, like the shark resistant suits that divers use so they don't get bit by sharks. You know what I'm saying? That chainmail. That's perfect. You could just swing a sword until you get tired and then you just sit there and lay there. You might have zombies breathing on you or something. You know what I'm saying? Wear a respirator or something with a helmet. You know, you just sitting there. Zombies just, you know, trying to get you. As soon as you get your strength back, just get back up and keep slicing. You know what I'm saying? You'll be unstoppable. Farm equipment too. That's another loophole in zombies movies, man. I'll find me a old harvester and get the, you know. Man, this one was a fascinating one. If you made it this far, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And today's code word is hollow. If you made it this far, be sure to drop hollow in the comments below. How does the hollow fit with the geocentric paradigm? It might be right above Sheol. I don't know. I'll put a quick picture up here of where Sheol is, and you know, it might be in the middle, right above it, you know, right next to the halls of Adamante. I don't know. This is just all for entertainment purposes only. None of this, it's up to us to distinguish fact from fiction and do our own research. But yeah, man, that was a deep one. We definitely, I consider this part 3 to, you know, the Beyond the Ice Wall, you know, because there's still some stuff that looks like taking place here on Earth. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to keep diving on these waters, man. I'm going to see y'all at the same time, same place tomorrow. Your boy knocking out these bankers. Jet Ski Chuck signing off. See you tomorrow. Peace.